Flash Gordon Park Show is an interview series geared towards preserving Houston culture. I am an ethnomusicologist, historian, DJ who uses different mediums to tell stories. I have published books, produced and directed films, and collected records from all over the world. In 2015, I directed the documentary, This Thing We Do, Houston DJ Culture Revealed, which is an introduction to the world of DJing here in the city of Houston. In 2019, I received a grant from the Houston Arts Alliance in the city of Houston to continue the efforts of documenting the diversity and history of individuals. One of those individuals is the legendary Archie Bell, soul singer from 5th Ward, Texas.
Hi everybody, we're Archie Bell in the drill, Houston, Texas. We don't only sing, but we dance just as good as we want. In Houston, we just started a new dance, and it's called the Tighten Up. Now this is the music that we tighten up with. First, we tighten up on the drum. All right now, drummer, come on now. Now tighten it up. Oh yeah, tighten up on that drum now.
Archie Bell's contribution to Houston music culture is undeniable. His impact on the world has remained viable for over 50 years. It is such an honor to sit and talk with one of the Bayou City's most prominent residents, the legendary Archie Bell.
Now everybody tighten up, come on now. I said we got a new dance now, and the show is tough. Yeah now, I said the name of the dance now.
Now, you told me earlier somebody gave you some advice about, because I was remarking about how you always show up, like every time I see you, you know, you're cut from that cloth of representation and, you know, reputation is important.
Right.
Who was the gentleman that told you if you look good, sing good?
That's right.
Who was that guy that told you that?
It was a guy out of Atlanta, Georgia. He was on the first show that I did when I got out of the Army.
Okay.
Gorgeous George.
Gorgeous George,
His
right.
his real name is Odell George.
Okay.
From Pine Bluff, Arkansas, but he was like the MC.
Right, right.
And he would come to town and do his show, and he was the MC. Every time he came out of the stage, he had a different outfit. And when he walked on the stage, the women were screaming like he was singing. He would be singing the song and fall off the stage.
Okay.
Never got hurt. The women would come out and pick him up and take him back.
Yeah.
And when the next artist, he'd be the same clothes. He told me, say, if you stay clean and you look clean, you got a good show, you got it made.
Okay.
And everything, if you don't have a good show and you clean, the women don't love you anyway. He wasn't a good entertainer, but girl, he was sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And I kept that always in mind, and I looked at all the other people in Motown and how they did and everything. That's half of the show, you know. You go on and you look good and everything, the women go crazy. They be chasing you around the building and all over the place. But
Right.
that's one thing, be clean and always you treat yourself like a gentleman.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned, you know, just a little bit about your you know, just tenacity of trying to get into the industry, like going up to seasoned artists and entertainers and asking them, what can you do to get into the business?
Right.
And you said, you know, not everybody was welcoming and, you know, but I'm interested to know, particularly in this city, we talked a little bit about Don Roby earlier.
Right.
How much of the music business was cutthroat and dangerous or mafia related, or, you know, just some kind of gangsters involved in the situation that made it a little bit more dangerous?
Well, all of the music was like that. A lot of things that happened in show business that just really blew me away. That's the really thing I think he did, you know.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people didn't know that Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, was killed because they wanted their own record company.
Wow.
You know, Etta James said she went to see Sam Cooke after he had been killed, and they beat him so bad they almost beat his nose off his face.
Wow.
Otis Redding was the same thing. He went to all the record companies in New York and everything. We don't want that old country shit down, that old blues stuff. So
Yeah.
he went to New York once, and these three guys hung him up in the elevator. Otis was a big guy. He waxed all of them.
Yeah.
But right after that, he ended up, you know,
In
with
the
the plane
plane
being
crash.
fixed. You know?
Oh, wow.
And,
So what kind of reputation did Don Roby have in the city?
Just like everybody else, just the gangs of mafia, you know, you sign with them, and a lot of people got used. A lot of people didn't ever get what they had. Don Rover had Bobby Bland on a contract for 25 years. Later on, Bobby bought him out of the contract for $25,000, I guess, for $1,000 a year.
Okay.
Stuff like that. You know, people really got cheated, didn't get their money, and a lot of things happened.
Now, as a young man, you already knew that going into the business, you knew it wasn't fair, and so you had your mind already focused on.
That's why I concentrated on being something different.
Okay.
Being not like the regular guys, you know, not being an alcoholic or a drug addict. You had to keep it clean. And still got real flat for flat.
Yeah.
And back then, when we went to record labels and everything, we had to have people like Huey Moore take the record to Atlanta. He was a white man. And Skip Lee took the record to the record company. He probably wouldn't even get out of the foyer in a day. But when Huey Moore went up there, they knew Huey and everything, his reputation, and the song kind of, you know, they had never heard nothing different like that. So after Huey went up there and talked to him and everything, that's why I opened the doors. And Gigi playing the record here.
Okay. So, I mean, what you're telling me is you had to be really strategic in order to make all of these things really hit.
It's a lot of things that I didn't know, but by me being in the business, sitting there with them guys and talking, I began to put two and two together.
Now, did you work a lot with Huey Moore? What type of man was he?
Well, Huey Moore was just the one who said it, and he tried to get us on the label. We never did anything with him. He knew Skip Lee. That was Skip Lee's partner.
Now, as far as Don Roby, I'm just, because his reputation and the folklore around him is just, I mean, it's so mythical. But what's the most outrageous thing you've heard or seen involving Don Roby, other than him holding Bobby Bland under contract for 25 years?
Well, a lot of people don't know it, but what happened is Johnny A's contract was getting ready to run out in 2 to 3 weeks, and he was up there talking trash to Don Roby, you know, and everything. And
you talking about the infamous night with Johnny A's?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happened is they said that Johnny A's was shot playing Russian roulette. How you play Russian roulette with a 45?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what they 45.
Said. Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, so I believe
not a revolver.
No.
Okay.
They believe that Roby shot, but it's Johnny Ace.
Let's talk a little bit after your work with Skip Lee, and then you guys get on Atlantic. But then there was a moment where Philly International comes into the picture, and you start working with Gamble and Huff.
No.
What was that experience like?
Well, we was on Atlantic label. Gamble and Huff was our producer, but we was on Atlantic label with Tighten Up, I Can't Stop Dancing, Showdown.
Right.
Okay, and everything. And after that, Atlantic dropped us.
Okay.
We went from Atlantic to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, with Prince Philip Mitchell.
Okay.
A guy named Dave Crawford out of Jacksonville, he was a producer, and a guy named Brad Shapiro. We went to Muscle Shoals and cut the album.
Okay.
And after Atlantic dropped us, we went down to the Hialeah, Florida.
Okay.
With Steve Alamo and KC and what was the owner of the name?
With Clarence Reed now?
No, the owner of the thing. Henry Stoner.
Okay.
Henry Stoner was the owner, you know, and everything. You know. So after we went down there and cut with Muscle Shoals and everything, after the Gamble Huff had dropped us, we went to their label. They were supposed to have all this material waiting for me when I got down there. We went out with about 4 or 5 songs that we had cut in Muscle Shoals. And after that, after we went in and recorded, I told my manager, my road manager, I said, man, this not gonna work. I go in there and they end up writing stuff when I got there. They supposed to have stuff already ready.
Okay.
So what we did is release the 4 songs that we had cut Muscle Shoals on their label. We never did do anything that they did for me new.
Now, what was it like working in Muscle Shoals? Because that was a legendary studio.
That's right. Everybody in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Aretha.
Yeah. Rolling Stone. Everybody.
Yeah.
But when I first got down there, I walked in the studio and had all these white guys, and I said to myself, I said, I don't know if this shit gonna work.
You didn't think they had the funk?
I had forgot about it. Aretha Franklin was down there.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And when they got in there and started playing the first song, I said, I need to kick myself in the behind. When we did the song, I said, man, this is really great.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, because during that era, music had changed
That's
so
right.
much
Really.
from Tighten Up
Right.
to about the time you did Strategy.
Right.
Can you talk about, like, was that an adjustment of, you know, like leaving Houston and working with other people outside of the Houston scene?
No, it wasn't that part, because if you listen to Harold Melvin, the Blue Notes, and now Teddy Pendergrass, you could always hear a little Tighten Up flavor. When I came home on leave once, we went to a place called Lunside, New Jersey. And after the first show, Kenny Gamaliel Huff came in the dressing room.
Okay.
I said, hey man, we like to produce you. I didn't know who Kenny Gamaliel Huff was. And so I called Skipper Lee. Skipper Lee called Atlantic Records, and Atlantic Records was excited about it. That's why I Can't Stop Dancing.
Okay.
And if you listen to I Can't Stop Dancing and Tighten Up, it's the same key and flavor.
Right.
But Tighten Up, it was a jam. When we left Blaze, I called Kenny back, and one day we were sitting in the restroom, and John Whitehead said, I got a nice ballad for you. Let's go and talk to Kenny and them about it.
Yeah.
And we went in the office and said, hey, we got this nice ballad for Archie. So Archie ain't no ballad man. He's a dance man. I said, he crazy as hell. I started off in the Baptist church, and I sang the best ballad.
Yeah.
That's what we did. I Won't Leave You, Honey, Never.
Okay.
And after that, everybody want to give me ballads and everything. I said, no, let's keep it. If you got two ballads,
Yeah.
we got 2, 3 up-tempo things.
Now, let's kind of talk about, like, the formula back then.
Right.
Or, like, you know, if I bought an album in, let's say, 1974, what would I usually expect? Like, the A side would pretty much have the up-tempo songs, right? And then somewhere in there would be mid-tempo, and then the ballads.
Yeah.
Like, why was the music structured in that way? Or, you know, for them to even think, like, you couldn't sing the ballads, you know, like you had to be all dance music, or like, was that the formula back then, like to have a little bit of everything for everybody?
Yeah, it was like, you know, full album. You can buy an album nowadays, have one hit on it.
Yeah.
And everything, but we had them ballads, and they never expected me to be a ballad. When we first did the stuff, they thought it was those J's.
Really?
You know, Eddie Verk came to me and told me I was taking food out of this kid's mouth. I said, man, what you mean? I said, go talk to the producer. Me and him in the same range, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
And everything. And
So you would get that from other artists, like feeling like you were stepping on their toes?
Yeah, we did a couple of shows with the Temptation. We got to Savannah, Georgia. Temptation told the promoter we had to leave the show because we was waxing. He told me, he said, man, I'm going to pay y'all tonight, but I'm going to have to let y'all go. But one day we were sitting at the office in Houston here, and the phone rang. Skip Lee said, y'all want to do Radio City Music Hall? I said, yeah, who's on the show? Bobby Womack, Donna Summer, Temptation headline. I said, yeah. That's a good way to pay us back.
Yeah.
So when we got up there and everything, did the show and everything, we opened up the show.
Okay.
So y'all gonna have to open. I said, I don't care, we'll just put us on there. So we opened up the show. So when we opened up the show and everything, we did Let's Groove, I Can't Stop Dancing, I think 3 or 4 songs. And when the stage would come up, the stage came up from the floor.
Okay.
We came on with a Let's Groove. We came on with I Can't Stop Dancing.
Okay.
The other song, then Let's Groove is what we went off, and when we went off, the stage was going down, and we would go to the east side of the stage and jump and leap, and the people would see us as we going down.
Yeah.
And they all ran to the door looking down at the stage.
Yeah.
When the stage went all the way down, they turned out the lights, and everybody left the stage, and they turned the light back on, and people went like, they couldn't believe it. Like one of those funkadelic things that we just And the next day in the reviews, Archie Bell and the Drills opened and closed Radio City Music Hall. The Temptation could have stayed home.
Wow.
You know,
that was the write-up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So was Radio Music Hall, was that your biggest stage to perform? Like, what was the biggest stage you've ever performed on?
Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall. What year was that?
That was in, it might have been about 74, 73 or 74, somewhere between there.
Who was on the bill?
The group called Platinum Hook.
Okay.
Peach and Herb headlining.
Okay.
And I think we went on after Platinum Hood. We was in the middle.
Okay.
And I went to Peach's Herb dress room right before the show, and he was playing my stuff. I said, man, you playing my music? Yeah, man, I love y'all stuff and everything. I said, I like Shaky Groove thing. They did so many beautiful ballads, with the girl. And everything, but that was the biggest highlight that we ever were. Carnegie Hall was like, after Carnegie Hall in the United States, there wasn't nothing else to do.
Right. And internationally, where some of the biggest
London,
days.
England.
London, England.
They got a place called the Indigo 2.
Okay.
Largest disco in the world. I think it's about 15,000 seats. And the place was 3 levels, floor, 2 levels, and everything was like packed, standing room only.